Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It is another Tuesday. Guess what, guys? This is the Alpha Mindset. My name is Dr. Albert Higgins. I am here to change your nature. Yes, indeed. And of course, before we get into the details, my co-host, Jack Gibson, how are you? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It's been a very interesting week. A lot of things have been going on, and
Hmm.
there's some things I want to talk about in the next couple of episodes. But tonight, I want to kind of set the tone
Okay.
in the direction I would like to. And I'm talking about ethics of being a humanitarian
Hmm.
and being altruistic.
Okay.
Absolutely. I want to
Yeah,
talk about
I'm excited about this topic because humanitarianism is so important, especially in these times that we're going through right now. There are so many people that are hurting and need someone to assist them. So I think this is going to be a great conversation.
that. Absolutely. And, it's about generally having concern for the welfare of others,
Hmm.
um, those who are suffering. And we do this, we actually do this work. We care about people. I mean, me being a therapist, I try to reach out and help people and
Hmm.
give them a sense of direction. Because, we all fall short to the grace of
Hmm.
God. We always do. And sometimes if you notice, is that everyone is in survival mode.
Hmm.
They're like, let me get what I can get for myself.
Hmm.
And if you don't get it, you just don't get it. And that it goes against the ethics of actually being a humanitarian. And you don't hear a
Yeah, it
lot of people
does.
talk about being a humanitarian. You don't hear a lot of people talk about it. And it's a very important facet.
Hmm.
Um, and knowing how to conduct yourself as a humanitarian. And believe it or not, it really helps build healthy, strong, developed relationships. When you
Hmm.
take a humanitarian approach against when dealing with someone or your loved one,
Hmm.
person at work, things of that nature.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you are absolutely correct. I had the fortunate opportunity to interview the human rights officer of the United Nations of Liberia, and it was just an amazing conversation that we had. For someone to be so open to share his life with others, it was just unbelievable to have someone with that type of heart.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially in this day and time, we have the war with Israel and Palestine going on. A lot of lives have been lost. And we tend to forget just how fragile life is.
Hmm.
And I kind of wanted to talk about this because, we are on the brink of a shift in the
Hmm.
way that we treat each other on a general term. And unfortunately, someone like me and you, we are dealing with people firsthand that are
Hmm.
dealing with trauma. And it's the trauma of people hurting people,
Hmm.
mistreating each other. A form of psychological warfare is really waging its ugly, it's rearing its ugly head against us.
It's survival.
It
People are,
is.
yeah, they're in survival mode, and it's like you said, it's all about me. Getting my needs met, and so I think this conversation is not only important for us, but also for the listeners to think about what are you doing as a humanitarian, and what are you giving back to society.
Right. And even when you say giving back, that's what altruism is about the need and wanting to give. And it
Hmm.
isn't always about money. It
No.
could be resources, it could be your time, it could
Hmm.
be listening, it could be assistance, things like this, especially in our community. We tend, get in our communities, we're isolated
Hmm.
in the house, we're not proactive in the community anymore. So it doesn't feel like a close knit community anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, when I was younger, the children were literally outside
Hmm.
playing with neighbors. That doesn't happen. That's, that's,
No.
that's a thing of the past. So we're kind of losing touch of the human experience,
Hmm.
you know,
And
and, and this is creating a lot of debilitating problems.
And then also with the pandemic, it didn't make it any better because then we became isolated and just only stayed within our own confinement. And so we were not even able to get out to socialize. So I think that has had an effect on what's going on as well, Doc.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And a couple of things I'm going to throw out there, and I know that you asked some questions. I know to kind of chop some
Mhm.
things up here for the audience, because I know a lot of people are probably not even used to these terms, being a
Mhm.
humanitarian or practicing altruism. And one thing about being a humanitarian is, let's just take a standard intimate relationship, husband and
Okay.
wife, right? Asking consent. Consent is really important when you're operating as a humanitarian with your loved. You
Mhm.
know, obtain the consent of a person before entertaining or asking a question. Even doing a favor. Let's say I'm going to do something for my wife.
Mhm.
Asking consent, is this what you need at this moment?
Mm. That's good.
Understanding what's well needed for your loved one instead of imposing your own opinions of what's best for that person. Really allowing that person to be autonomous.
Okay.
And then maintaining neutrality. A lot of times, especially if you're the person in your family that could be the person of influence, maybe
Mhm.
you're the leader of the family, and people come to you for advice, try your best to stay neutral. Neutrality is really, really important in the dynamics of being a humanitarian. It's really important, man. And the mindset of trying not to do any harm,
Mhm.
even if you don't want to hurt anyone psychologically, let alone physically.
Mhm.
Really having the innate ability to actually care and be willing to be an active listener and hear a person from their perspective.
Yeah, it's so important that, we do that in a relationship. And it's so easy. It's so
Yeah,
easy, guys, just to take our opinion and, oh, I think you should do it this way, or I don't think you should do it that way. But everyone have their own, identity.
yeah,
We can't share identities, Doc. You have your own identity and I have my own. And for us to
absolutely.
insist that person think like we think, I think that's not humanitarian.
No, it's not. It's not. And we have to think about this. It's real popular now to talk about all this gender war stuff. I'm gonna tell you, folks, this gender war thing is driving me crazy.
Hmm.
And so many people that I counsel are suffering from this problem, and we need each other desperately.
Hmm.
Men and women, we really need each other. We need to coalesce. We have to coexist.
Hmm.
This is how human beings survive, is depending and caring for one another. And now it's gotten to the point that men and women are in a power struggle.
Hmm.
The men, if I care too much for her, would I be considered a weak man? How in the
Hmm.
world,
Hmm.
in this day and time, in 2023, a man that is centered towards a woman would be
Hmm.
considered weak, soft? That makes
it's
no
it's
sense.
what our society is expecting out of our men, and for them to separate themselves from their woman. And I think
Absolutely.
that is what's so detrimental to what's going on right now, because
Yeah,
now we're raising children to feel the same way.
absolutely. Absolutely. And, in the upcoming episode, guys, now, some of this stuff is going to be a big controversy that I'm going to be talking about, in the way that society is built and governed. And I'll say this much for now. Men have created this society. Men have written the rules. Men have written the laws. And I really want everyone to think about that. In the state that we're in now, the wars that we've had, all the stuff that's going on, men have written these laws.
Hmm.
So now, if men are leaders, leaders come with accountability. As a humanitarian, we have to embrace accountability.
Hmm.
If men want the privilege of being a leader, then we also have to take on the accountability of being. And that right there is a hard pill to swallow for men to
Hmm.
understand that we are at the head of humanitarianism, and we have to be willing to give and give with intent.
Hmm.
And that I don't know. We're going to be talking about it in future episodes. We're going to be talking
This is so good because, as I was studying for this episode here, I also want you to get into what is the role of a psychologist? How much of a role has psychology played in our society and the way we think?
Yeah.
So if we can talk
Well,
about that later on.
well, absolutely, because psychology, it's about the ability to govern yourself,
Hmm.
the ability to trust the person that you are by embracing the person.
Hmm.
Psychology is designed for you to have an intimate relationship with yourself and have self-awareness.
Okay,
That's what psychology does. It gives you the tools to be able to adapt and excel in the ongoing environment that you don't have control.
that's good. That's good. So yeah, I'm excited about the upcoming episodes because we're going to learn a lot about psychology. We are so excited that Dr. Higgins is a psychologist. Oh, and he's a human behavior therapist. So, oh my goodness, we're going to have some great conversations. So, I want to ask you, can social media influence altruism and
Oh,
how?
absolutely. Absolutely. Because with some of these images now, you got the gurus with the own, become an Airbnb
Hmm.
millionaire, or you can become a millionaire overnight. And you see
Hmm.
people driving in fancy cars and amazing clothes, and everybody's life is just perfect on social media. Absolutely, it affects altruism
Hmm.
because then it creates competition, and you don't see a lot of philanthropic things
Hmm.
on social media. You see a lot of self-centeredness. So absolutely, yeah, absolutely, it
Oh
affects.
yeah, everybody has a course, everybody has,
Oh man, absolutely,
and
absolutely.
everybody wants to help you.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that goes to what is altruism? What is it?
Well, in simple terms, because it's not a popular term, it's the art of giving.
Okay.
It's all about giving. Like the other day, I was in the store, and a young man, he was at the doorway of the grocery store,
Hmm.
and he was asking for money. People were walking by, walking. And I gave him some money. And he said, thank you very much. And I said, well, here's a few dollars. And he asked me, thank you very much. Um, could I have some more money? I gave him the buck. He says, well, I don't know if I'm going to have enough to get the
Okay.
food that I want when I go in. So I took him in and bought him his food. He said, well, you keep the money I gave you. Here's the food, and be on your way.
Hmm.
And I didn't have to do that,
No.
but it's just the willingness to want to do it because it must have taken a lot for him to even
Wow.
ask.
Oh my
You
goodness.
know, and imagine this is a young guy, this is a young boy. For him to ask me that, I immediately thought about what's going on in this. Where's his parents?
Hmm.
Why does he have to be here? Maybe he's getting food for him and his sister, him and his brother, maybe his family. Let me help this guy out. Like really, really paying forward and thinking beyond the moment. And that's what altruism is.
That's good. That's really, really good, Doc. Thank you so much for that. You know, it's so much that we can talk about right now. So, what drives an individual to be altruistic? Is it something that's in them, or is it something that was a learned behavior?
Oh
Is
well,
it
I think
natural or
with
learned?
altruism, yeah, with altruism, it's a learned behavior.
Okay.
It is, because initially, experience develops altruism.
Hmm.
You know, you learn about altruism when you experience loss, and you learn to relate through empathy.
Hmm.
Life will really break you down sometimes,
Hmm.
and it conditions you to empathize when you see people going through similar things, and you start relating and connecting your life experience with everyone else's. Because a lot of times we don't think about how our transgressions affects the whole.
Hmm.
If one person falls, we all fall.
That's right.
It's a fall of humanity, and so we have to really think about that we are collectively affecting one another. And so as you experience life, you experience these losses in life, you start to realize I'm part of a bigger picture,
Hmm.
and that's how altruism falls in place.
When I think about altruism and humanitarianism, I think about our military. And, especially now that we're not in war where you're forced to go, but for people who are just volunteering to to protect our country. Is that learned? I see that a lot of military families are families of prior military people. So is that where it's learned?
Well, I think yes. I think it's learned through hereditary uh, structure. It's learned because mom and dad. This is part of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Each family has its own set of morals and
Mm-hmm.
culture that are developed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have sometimes these morals help us, sometimes they work against us. So let's just say a person is part of a military family, they become a part of their pride. When they're developing family pride,
Mm-hmm.
mom, dad, they went to the military. I want to follow in the footsteps of my mom and dad. So yeah, altruism is definitely a
Yeah.
learned response and a
Yeah,
hereditary.
police officers and firemen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's good. That's really good. This is so good. This is so good, Doc. So, what can we do if we don't have a cause and we really want to be able to help? Where do we start?
Well, me personally, I'll say this, and this is just from my years of experience. The first cause is yours. The
Mhm.
first cause is being authentic and true to yourself. What are your wants and needs? Build the life that you want to live and give back what you've accomplished to others. Lead by example. The first cause should be your first cause within you, not the first cause for someone else. What's the point of helping someone else if you're not helping yourself?
Mhm.
And you lead by example because when a person sees what you've done and the work and effort that you put in, it's inspiration. The inspiration alone can move a lot of people, especially when it's genuine. So,
Mhm.
that first step is the first step to making your life better
That's
because
good.
life should be enjoyable. Life
Mhm.
shouldn't always be about trauma and crime and sadness and
Mhm.
insecurity. No, life is a gift and it's all about embracing.
And I find the more I give, the more fulfilled I am. I feel like I've done, I'm moving toward my purpose.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we talked about purpose before.
Yeah.
Purpose is that guideline. Purpose is like that lighthouse in the fog. When
Hmm.
you're lost, you look for that light and you follow it, go towards it. So your purpose is always going to never let you down. You follow your purpose, you start creating principles around your purpose. It keeps your sense of identity in place.
That's so good. Oh my goodness. This was so good, Doc. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And you guys, this has been the Alpha Mindset. And oh, this has been such a great, great conversation. So every Tuesday, Doc,
Oh
every
yeah, absolutely.
Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, guys. This has been really fun. We've really enjoyed bringing information to you guys, and it's only gonna get better. It's only gonna expand. So we're looking forward to it. And next week's gonna be a very topic.
Yeah, guys, and we want you to check out Dr. Higgins' website. It's www.dralberthiggins.com. And yeah, he has some great information if you want to connect with him about therapy, because we all need it. We all need someone to listen to us. And so please connect with him. Thank you, Doc.
Absolutely, absolutely, guys. Be healthy, be blessed. I look forward to talking to you guys.
Bye bye.